Talk about the hot topic of
Yeah,
bar dogs.
the elephant in the room.
Oh boy.
You want to stir the pot? Dude,
Comes
we
up
should bring the horse out from the dead so we can beat it again.
every year, every month, every other week.
Okay, every time somebody wins with a borrowed dog,
Oh, it's a problem.
it's another post. It's usually just social media fueled, but we want to talk about it.
What's your general opinion of it? Just your basic one-line answer.
There's no rule against it. The only organization that has a rule about it is UFO, and they say that if you are playing with a borrowed dog, then you're limited to 4 dogs total. And then if it's all your own dogs, if you've got 20 of your own dogs, then go ahead and play all 20 of your own dogs. But that's the only one that has any kind of rule surrounding borrowed dogs.
But in terms of the rules, okay, USDDN, it doesn't matter how many dogs you qualify with. Somebody can play with 100 dogs at a qualifier, but they only take one qualifying spot. So it really doesn't impact you at all. And when you play at the finals at USDDN, you can only play with one dog. So do you care if they have a borrowed dog? I want to know. If you play in the quad, you can only play with one dog. Do you care if they're borrowing that dog? Does that hurt your feelings or something? And let's see. Skyhounds has limits on how many spots that you could take at events, so someone can't just run the board and take all the qualifying spots.
They can have a lot of events, though.
You have a lot of events.
However many they want in.
And then if they qualify 20 dogs, they can play with 20 dogs at the finals. That's completely allowed. My opinion on that is if they're going to go through that much work and go to all of those qualifiers, all those events, and earn those spots, then I don't have any problem with them playing with them. I feel that this is a competition, especially when you go to the finals. They want the best of the best of the best. If the same person can be the best with multiple dogs, what's the difference? And I'm not known as a borrowed dog person. I will say this, I've said this many times, bring out as many dogs as you can borrow to try to beat me. I welcome anyone to do it. And I'm not being cocky about it. If you can do that, then I don't have any reason to complain, because you're better than me and you're beating me. And whether it's my dogs or something I borrowed or whatever, if you beat me, you're just better. It's a competition.
So, okay, in the case that a great handler borrows a great dog, that can push the sport to another level. And you usually see that happen in distance or maybe games, but that's pretty rare. Sometimes freestyle, again, it's rare. But there are people that have done it, and in some ways that pushes the level of competition to be higher, right? For the sake of competition. I think where a lot of people have trouble is that it's a dog sport. So unlike tennis or basketball or people sports, there's a dog element to it. And everybody loves their dogs almost to a point of like they're defensive about it. Like people are, I think a lot of passion and in some cases jealousy in the sport happens because it's not even about the player. It's about the dog. My dog this. I want my dog to have this or be the best or whatever. And when you're playing tennis, that doesn't really come into play. It's you and your partner. So like, okay, in tennis, I feel like this is just a little bit of an easier analogy than like a team sport like basketball where there's a big team. But like tennis, you have one partner, right? So like you get 2 ringers together and put them together. That doesn't necessarily make the best team either, even though you've got 2 of the best players. Mm-hmm. But then again, there are players that they could be 2 of the best in the world together. There's also that. So, yeah, I do. I don't know what I'm trying to get at other than bringing up the fact that there is that different component to how far should we push the sport in the for the sake of competition, and borrowed dogs plays into that.
So I guess this might be somewhat related. One of the arguments that people make against borrowing dogs is this sport's just supposed to be about the fun. It's just about having fun and enjoying your time with your dog. Are you unable to enjoy your time with your dog out on the field if someone else plays with someone else's dog? Why do you care? that's what kind of bugs me about it. If you're just about having fun, who cares if someone goes and sweeps the whole thing and takes the top 10 spots or something like that if it's just about having fun? Sounds like it's not just about having
Also,
fun.
I think a lot of people that are saying having fun, they're
Winning
some
is
of
fun.
their some of their equating, winning is fun, right? Like it's not just having fun playing, it's also having fun looking at the rankings at the end and being at the top.
And they definitely will not admit to that, but that has to be what's really
some
there.
Won't. Maybe some will.
I mean, so if you just don't like the fact that somebody else is taking all the spots, I mean, do you think you should win if they are able to beat you regularly with multiple dogs? I wouldn't say so. And I'm not I don't even know who all the people are borrowing and doing this or that. I know a lot of it happens in distance.
You don't even pay attention to distance that much. No, you're not even on the same field usually.
I mean, I could probably go out and borrow 10 great dogs and go do toss and fetch. Freestyle is pretty much impossible to do this in, but I can go do it in toss and fetch, and I might be able to take the top 10 spots, or maybe I'll be able to take 8 of them or something like that. And you could do the same thing. If I'm able to do that, does somebody think that I shouldn't have won for that for some reason? I don't get it. It's I'm losing what the real argument is here. I'm losing it.
Okay, so what, at what point is it a problem where it's stopping the growth of the sport? Because there are like a couple of players that are so good at what they do, and I think you see this in distance more than the others, because like you said, it's much easier to take a dog. The skill set for distance is narrower. Not that they're less good or less amazing than people that do freestyle, but the skill set needed, it's the things that you have to do to be good at distance. It's much easier to just take a dog and plop them into that than it is to do freestyle. Not to say that the people that are borrowing dogs in distance don't practice. I'm sure many of them do. But
I have the answer for this. It's very simple. If let's just say it's distance that is the main thing, and it's really bothering you. Well, the quad only allows you to play with one dog.
That's true. There's an organization. That's an organization that has
play UFO. UFO has distance. I didn't see any of these people who are complaining about this at the UFO World Championships doing distance, did I? No, not one of them. Why didn't you show up to the UFO World Finals where they actually have borrowed dog rules to limit so someone can't go and take all the spots or have 10 or 15 dogs in there? They have rules for it, but yet none of those people showed up at the UFO finals.
California was a long drive.
To beautiful sunny California,
where it rained all weekend.
That's a whole separate thing. So, and I think the Hero Cup, which I don't know if they're still doing it, but I think they had a limit of 2, if I remember. Was that correct?
Yeah, I think they sort of had like a A division
and a B division. Same thing.
So where the counts were limited, right?
Go do that. I don't know about the distance in Updog if they have limits, so I couldn't tell you. Who else? Is there another distance event, or was that? Well, yeah, I think that's mostly what we got.
Well, Updog has distance, and it's
right,
not,
but we don't know.
There's no laws about dogs.
So I just limits. Think, and if it's bothering you to toss and fetch, okay, USDDN doesn't allow it. You can only play with one dog in USDDN. You don't like it in freestyle or open, you could.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, there are organizations that don't allow it.
You could. UFO and USDDM both have either you can only play with one dog or you have strict limitations like you do in UFO. And
AWI has dog limit. We didn't even mention. AWI actually has limits. It's nothing about if the dog's borrowed or not.
You could play 2 in a division. So
well, you could play as many as you want to qualify, but only so many qualify.
But you could only play 2 at the finals. You can only qualify 2 dogs.
Right.
You only play 2 at the finals. So if you qualify 2 dogs in AWI, you're already done. You can't do anything the rest of the year. You've got your dogs in.
Change your dogs.
You can't change your dogs. So why not just play in these organizations that have the rules that you might like, instead of just worrying about one event and the whole entire sport that seems to be bothering people so much? Seriously, just don't play in something that's not bothering you, man. Don't stress out.
So I got a question to piggyback. It's not borrowed dog related, but so what about like players that are dominating, even with their own dogs that are, kind of, there's a handful of people that dominate the sport, right? Especially in the US and Japan. I think Europe, there's a little bit more spread because there's more countries, there's more people, there's a little bit different, more different. But I feel like US, Canada, Japan, probably even a lot of the South American countries have like a small handful of people that are dominating sport. Same people win every time.
Yeah, and I guess very similar to that is I know at some major events, I have swept the top 3 in all the divisions, toss and fetch, open or freestyle, and combined.
Yes, and that's what I mean. That's what I mean. There's people with their own multiple dogs.
That's the same concept, because I think you're going to get disappointed that, same person won everything. We've heard complaints in our club from people who just get sick of seeing us at the top of everything. Well, what do you want me to do? I've played with as many as 5 of my own dogs at events, and we do pretty well, and you the same. So I don't have any suggestion for a person who's worried about borrowed dogs when we can come in and just do the same damn thing with our own dogs.
That's true. Yes, there is that. Well, yeah, and that is the thing. And I think there's, there are some people that have a lot of dogs, and whether it's freestyle or distance or whatever, they're dominating with all of their dogs regardless of the game. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with you that there are organizations that have those rules in place for people that prefer that type of thing.
Yeah, and so you have a lot of outs, a lot of options. I think I want to say even like Toss and Fetch League, you may have been limited to like 2 dogs at the finals. I'm not 100% sure. We haven't done it in like 6 years, I think, or something like that. So
I remember. I remember there being like a rule about like limited 2 dogs. Mm-hmm. I remember that. Yeah,
because they wanted to be able to get done on time, and they know that there's a lot of people who enter.
Yeah, and everybody. Yeah, and what was maybe normally a small group of people getting together, when there's like 5 regions like together, then it turns into a big event.
Christopher Brownlee said that. And the people who are complaining about the people complaining about the borrowed dogs, that they get all offended that people are complaining about it. Christopher Brownlee had a great response. He said, you have 2 options. Either don't borrow other people's dogs so that it goes away. No one's going to complain then. Or don't let it bother you. So it's like both sides of it. I don't know why everyone's getting so upset by this stuff.
I actually think it's less people than we think. I think there's just a lot of comments.
280 comments
on
or something.
On the most recent one. Bringing up the horse back from the dead to beat it again.
I mean, I guess as you can see, we're not going to be talking about this anymore in this podcast.
We've actually. So here's the deal. Okay, so here's my old geezer moment. Okay, so back in my day.
What was your age?
Okay, so we've been doing this for a long time. It just feels like every year this gets brought up, or in some form, or it's when somebody wins something with a big dog or a borrowed dog. That's usually what happens. Somebody wins something, it's brought up, and then everybody comments again their thoughts on it. And it's the same thing. And it's a cycle. And it repeats. And it's just over and over and over and over.
It's like a disease. I'm sorry, it's horrible.
We always come to the same conclusion.
It won't go away.
The people that don't like it, and the people that want to do it, they continue doing it, and then the people that don't care.
And I'm speaking for both of us, but you can tell me if I'm wrong. We're like, we don't care category. Like, just move on from this.
It's just been brought up so many times. And you know what? Not that many people borrow dogs. So I did want to also talk a little bit about the positive sides of borrowing dogs, because I think what happens, like I said, the reason it comes up is because people win, and then, maybe somebody's bitter or jealous because, people are so passionate about my dog. I want my dog to win. And then, somebody comes in and they don't even own that dog. That dog doesn't even go home with them at the end of the day, or whatever. However people see it, I guess. But so I want to talk a little bit about the positives of borrowing dogs and what has that done for the sport in a good way, and maybe some reasons why we should, the organizations that don't currently have rules surrounding borrowed dogs, they should continue to not have rules surrounding borrowed dogs. So what would you say are like some good things that you've seen with borrowing dogs? Well, other than we talked about a push in the sport.
We have to do it ourselves because we want to do pairs freestyle with our dogs and pairs DA.
That's a good point.
And
we don't have to, but it's a strategy that we try.
Right, because we want our dogs to be so familiar with another person that or the other person, so that they could play with them just like they play equally with
and we've
both
done
of
that
you.
with most of our pairs dogs. You've competed with Sora and Flair, and I've competed with Muse.
I just did freestyle with Flair this past weekend so that I can develop that relationship with her on the field, and we did really well. And if we win something like that, then we win something like that. Great. And you competed with Cheeky and Muse. It's just something we do. It also helps the dogs because they're going to see throws that are a little different and stuff like that.
Makes them a better dog.
Makes them a better dog. And maybe if your dog's a little shy, I loved whenever you would play with Enzo because he was such a shy dog.
Well, that's like Sora
Frisbee.
too. I mean,
and so it's helping him come out of his shell a little bit, or it helped him come out of his shell because he's playing with someone he isn't around all the time.
And
but he
Sketch,
loves the
it was like you could play with him because I'm tired of throwing, and it's your turn now. Wear Sketch out because he will go all day and all night.
Yeah, what happens? God forbid you get hurt or something like that, or you're unable to play with your dog at all. Wouldn't you like someone else to be able to play with them? What if they already have this idea that, hey, I can just play with people?
Yeah,
that's a good thing.
I do think that's a good thing. Another place that I've seen this, be really beneficial to the sport is, maybe it's a kid that doesn't have a dog, or their family can't afford a dog, or they just, for whatever reason, they don't have their own dog to play with. The kid doesn't really have control of that. They can't do anything about that until they're older. And maybe that gives a kid an opportunity to play when they otherwise wouldn't have had a chance to play. I mean, I've lent out several of my dogs to kids that showed up to the competition and they were just interested and they wanted to try it. They didn't know what they were doing, or a lot of times they're family members of somebody that, hey, maybe this kid wants to try it. And it's like, okay, well, I have a dog that doesn't bite kids, or I've had several dogs that don't bite kids. They're going to be nice. And it'll be a fun experience for the kid to get to try it. And I think that, and it doesn't have to be kids. I mean, it could just be, anybody. I don't know.
And I guess the last thing I would just say is, if you don't like other people borrowing dogs and that, think about one thing. Just consider this. Do you know the business of those people? Do you know that this is a borrowed dog?
Yeah, that was the other thing I was going to say is what qualifies as a borrowed dog? Because here's the deal. Here's something really interesting is that, the first time I won something with a borrowed dog was Muse. We won the Sport DA World Championship at Skyhounds. And, it was really interesting because, of course, then again, it was brought up. But, not with me named, but it was brought up, and it's been brought up to me personally, not regarding me playing with Muse, but just borrowed dogs in general. And a lot of times my response is, well, I'm not going to be a hypocrite here. I've borrowed dogs and played with them. I've won. I've, you could say taken it away from somebody else and their own dog, whatever you want to call it. And you know what every single one of them says to me? Oh, yeah, well, you and Muse are different. Really? Because you know what? Muse has had sleepovers at my house without Jeff. She's come to hang out at my house. One time she just walked in my house.
And we're just like, let her spend the night.
And she just wanted to hang out. She didn't want to leave. And Jeff just left her here. He's like, okay, well, I'll see you tomorrow. So just bring her back. I'm like, okay. And you know what? Muse just hung out and we had a sleepover. But anyway, so my point is why is that different? Right. And why are you evaluating somebody else that most likely you don't even know the whole situation?
And it is none of your business. You don't know what they're doing. You don't have any idea. It's none of your business. Let people do what they want to do. And maybe the dog, you see it as a borrowed dog. Maybe one person owned the dog and then eventually transferred it to a friend or something like that. You don't know what's happened. You have no idea. Maybe it's co-owned. There are so many combinations. Or maybe it's, I don't consider anything between us borrowed dogs because we're best friends. So I don't care what anyone thinks about that. I mean, it's not borrowed dogs for us.
That's what people say too.
If it is, I don't care if you think it is.
But that's what people, that's what I'm saying is like, okay, so what, I guess the answer is that the people have different lines for what is a borrowed dog.
Yeah. And then you're going to make up your own thing in your mind. Well, I know that's not theirs. I think they own the dog.
It's not logical. It's not.
No, it's not.
There's no. Yeah, it has to be.
Do you know for sure who owns this dog? Did you research all the papers and do all that? Why would you do that? You want to dig into somebody else's business? It's really not your business. It's not. That's my opinion.
That's true.
But we're going to have to cut this one.
Oh, why? You want to cut it short?
Yeah. We got a show to go to, Megadeth show. So
okay. All right. Well, this has been a mini episode of
the Disc Dog Pod, and I hope we never talk about this again. See you guys.
Bye, horsey. Hey, it's Kirby. So we had to end this episode a little bit quick because we were on a time crunch and had to be somewhere. But there was one more thing that I wanted to add before we lay this topic to rest for good, at least for us anyway. We probably won't be talking about it much more, but inevitably, I'm sure it'll get brought up again at some point on social media. But I wanted to touch on that some people have said that borrowing dogs is not in the spirit of the sport. And to me, I haven't seen anybody that's, at least I haven't personally, up close, seen somebody that's borrowed a dog and not treated the dog with kindness, care, joy, excitement. That's all I've seen. So when somebody's borrowing a dog and the dog's having a really great time playing, to me, I think that is totally in the spirit of the sport. And I think that getting people involved and getting people playing, like we mentioned earlier about, maybe somebody doesn't have a dog for whatever reason, or their dog can't play right now or something. It's in the spirit of the sport that we encourage others to play. And I think allowing people to borrow dogs without judgment is in the spirit of the sport. What isn't in the spirit of the sport is to berate people or, kind of bully them in a way, or be rude to people that are borrowing other people's dogs, or diminishing their accomplishments if they're doing well with a borrowed dog. That, to me, in my opinion, is not in the spirit of the sport. And that part of this borrowed dog conversation, I think, is what needs to end. You can like it, you can not like it, and you could, be in our boat and not really care either way, as long as the dog's having a good time and is safe and happy. But I think we cross a line when we start making others feel bad for wanting to enjoy and explore the world of disc dogging. So that's what I wanted to kind of just tag on to the end of this episode. Borrowing dogs, I think, has a lot of benefits to the sport. I think there's a few things that, yes, it makes the sport a little bit more difficult to compete and win, but that's inevitable when we get more competitors, and the more competitive people that we get, that's just what's going to happen. So yeah, that's where I wanted to leave this episode and this topic on borrowed dogs. And so see you on the next one.